But yeah, they actually do that nowadays too. They teach the dogs to like run up to tanks and go underneath it, and then they'll just like strap on like they'll give it fake C4 at first, but then yeah, they'll just use it like to get underneath tanks to blow them up.
Where is this at? 'Cause I've never heard of this.
It's something that they do over. I'm not gonna say specifically where because I don't know specifically where, but they do it over in the like the Middle East area type things. They'll teach dogs to like run up underneath the tanks, and then after a while, after they get the hang of it, they'll strap on real C4 and basically make them go underneath a real tank and do it. It's really cruel. I don't like it, but it's a thing that people do, unfortunately.
Yeah,
I
that's
was in the army. I've never heard of this.
Just imagine what's happening in the dog's mind at that moment.
Nothing, because it doesn't understand foreign
Treat,
concepts
treat,
like that.
treat, treat. Okay, so I think that this will probably be my last one. It's already 11:20. It's getting close to midnight. That being the case, like I said, community coaching with Cal will be starting up full day on Saturday starting next week. I will be changing my work schedule around. That being the case, I do have a huge list of games. Right now, the community is very excited for me going through Portal 2 of all games. Excuse me. But if you want to see my list, just go to this list. It's not fully updated. There's still a few more games that aren't on that list. Excuse me. Including a lot of my handheld PSP games, as well as a few others here and there. But my wife got most of them. So if there's anything on that list that you guys are really, really super excited to watch me play through, I am always taking community requests. Once I get done with Portal 2, I will have an opening slot for the rest of the evening for me to play through when I'm not playing Payday 2. So I kind of default to Payday 2 unless I get enough community mentioning that they'd like to see me go through a specific game or not. So if there's anything on there, excuse me, just let me know, and we'll try and get that going. Okay, on the dam. Very, very big changes. Okay, let me go sport. No. I think I have to click on it like immediately. Oh well. And a fabulous... I feel like that these skins look a little bit different. They look a little bit more full body coated instead of something else, but I don't know. Maybe I'm just not used to seeing it or something. Oops, wrong button. So I've noticed a few more monsters going this direction now with all the recent changes. So Mr. Kraken, we've got the Kraken here for nostalgia's sake. Well, right now I am playing Final Fantasy Type 0, the remastered one for the PlayStation 4. I've been going through that. I've already, that's the one where you have like, it's very, very war-oriented, and it's not a very happy-go-lucky kind of game. So the monster making good progress here. Getting a little bit of food, going down, might be spotted actually pretty soon by one of the hunters, right barely. And I saw a ping, and it looks like that they were able to ping it, but the monster decides to cut to the other side and stops. Looks like the monster is waiting to see what's going on. So they do have lads, so they need to be very careful about their splits here. So any little damage you do against lads, so I fully encourage monsters, especially Kraken, to look backwards and Banshee Mine and stuff. So nice little juke here, made it look like it was going across, and it looks like the hunters jumped the gun a little bit, thinking that the monster did in fact cross the river. So monster's going to go back towards the spawn and probably loop around towards the cave area. That was interesting. It looked like a regular trap jaw for a second. I was like, the trap jaw is being eaten. And there goes the monster across, trying to keep out of line of sight as much as possible. So right now, why they are not following Daisy? Daisy is going in the right direction, but I think that they have been ignoring Daisy. not thinking that Daisy's going the right way. And that's a nice thing. If you can play consistently against the same team and you juke Daisy enough, eventually you won't have to because they will stop listening to Daisy altogether. So it looks like that they lost track of her. The Assault all by himself. Again, with the Laz, that just needs to be a little careful because all it would take is a little bit of damage. Oh, and again, going after all these Dune Beetles. I'm not the biggest... This Dune Beetle is apparently doing a disco dance. The Assault looks like he's found prints, maybe a couple of corpses, and there goes the carrion birds. And ready to evolve. So probably going to evolve either in this location over here or over here, I would assume. Maybe even in the water. The water is actually a pretty safe place to evolve just because this is a very, very scary area for hunters to fight in general. It's a very strong monster-oriented position. So monster hiding in some bushes to try and climb up. And maybe he is actually... Oh, evolving over here. Interesting little location. They might be able to go ahead and get there in time. Probably not. Oh, and he cancels. The Assault should be able to go ahead and see him, like, right now. And there he goes. Nice. Straight to the flamethrower. No toxic grenade. Ain't got time for that. I dislike that. I feel like he should have stayed on the flamethrower the entire time, or I don't know. I don't agree with that. Okay, hit points. So the monster taking a little bit of chip damage here. Needs to be very careful. Laz needs to be the most careful, and Laz is actually outside of the dome. The team doing a great job of evading. That's exactly how you want to fight against a Kraken, especially a Kraken where you have no real healer. You know, it's not a DPS race. You're not trying to burn the monster and kill him in one phase. You just do a little bit of damage here and there and just dodge his main skills, which are basically the Lightning Strike and Aftershock. Everything else is a little bit low. You don't have to worry. And there's the Aftershock. With the shield, personal shield absorbed that. Fantastic use of it. And the monster taking a little bit of damage here and there. But it looks like that is going. The drone finally gone. I feel too many monsters neglect going after that too early. And those harpoon traps doing a great deal of damage. Silver about to go down. Now remember, when the Assault is down, the rest of the team needs to put incredible pressure on the monster, or Laz will not be able to get the opportunity to res. So the monster looks like trying to down the Assault. There is the Aftershock. Now he's going to try and eat the body. Needs to keep him off. And it looks like he's trying to do a little bit more damage here and there. I do like that Laz is staying back, and I like to see punishment, more punishment. You know, the monster's trying to stay by, trying to lure in Laz, and there's the Laz approach. And Laz cloaks, and looks like he will be able to go ahead and get away. The Aftershock comes down, and once more, the monster breaking away, not going to be able to camp through the camp. Right now, Laz has to go after that Assault. He's going to get revealed in just a moment, and that Assault... So half damage, and it looks like the Assault is going to take a permanent strike here. So right now, I would just have everybody on the team just go ahead and recoup and basically last for another minute. So trading one strike in for that much permanent health damage is not a terrible trade. So Hadrosaur needs to get out of there. Cloaks and ends up going away, but it looks like the Kraken has him in his sights. And Hadrosaur needs to do a great job of getting out of there, because right now, once a monster knows where Laz is, it's a very hard time. So here comes the Aftershock drop, and the Aftershock will get him down to very little health. And it looks like the shield drone saves his life in the nick of time, but I would like to see a lot more punishment. Monix right now, not really doing a lot of damage, and I would have liked to see more damage than harpoon traps right there. So right now, two strikes, and the monster loses half of his health. Not a bad trade. I still think that the hunters are slightly ahead here. If I was the monster, I would actually try and down these guys. Ooh, they get Laz back up, so Laz is in fact up, so now the hunters could be a lot more forthcoming when it comes to being aggressive. So dropship coming down very shortly. bringing with him the assault. So as always, whenever you play with Laz, always try and sacrifice the support. Because of the monster kind of gets tunnel vision against Laz, and if you can go after support, that means your assault is able to keep doing lots and lots of damage. And here comes the assault for the rescue. The monster is probably going to get enough to get to a stage 3. So a stage 3 engagement with a strike on the assault and a strike on Laz is not spectacular, but it depends. If they're able to dome him at stage 2 and they continue to do what they just did, I think they have a very solid chance of winning right now. So there goes the assault. Only one more bar of energy needed to evolve. And it looks like the rest of the team, the assault and trap are a little off ahead of their team right now. Just need to be very careful. It's going to be interesting. I think that they're going to go head towards the general area where monsters like to evolve, which is this back area. But it looks like the monster is going to be evolving on this side of the river. And we'll see where the monster actually decides to evolve. So right now, let's see where Daisy's pointing. So Daisy wants to go this way. I'd like to see some pings in this direction saying Daisy's going over here. And it looks like the monster is going to evolve up on this little area. No. Going to this back corner. And there's a shield drone. I like that he didn't take it out just in case someone happens to look at their map and remember where they put their shield drone and it got destroyed. So this is a very safe area to evolve, because if you do get domed, there's usually a lot of wildlife, and you can do a lot of damage in this area. It's a very strong monster, and this is a very, very bad split to support all by themselves. And here comes the evolution, so they should be able to go ahead and point. They might actually just be heading straight for the relay. I almost feel like that's what they're actually doing instead of trying to fight the monster. So all they have to do is, with a Laz, is just do a little bit of damage and focus on survival. No lightning strike. Interesting build. I'm not a big fan of Aftershock even now. I still feel it's a little tad too strong. But we'll see. So let's go ahead. Let's see what they can make work here. Now up here is actually not as bad for the monster, because you can actually pin hunters behind these little grates by the pipes and start smacking them down over and over again. To answer your question, Santa Claus, if you have a PC, add MaddCowQQ on Steam if you haven't already, and then send me a message asking for an invite to the Steam group that I have. And then whenever I do coaching with Cal, I invite everybody on the list. I wish there was a way to automatically invite everybody on that list all at once instead of one by one, which is really tedious. Okay, monster starting to engage. Laz sticking back towards the back. Now remember, the power relay is actually under here, and so being able to fire through here is not actually damaging the monster. You need to be very careful. This grate does not really cover that. And it looks like the Kraken is actually doing a lot of damage. Okay, I just saw your friend add Santa. I'll accept it in just a moment after this game. So Aftershock only hits Daisy. The assault and support very close together. Be very careful. The monster looks like he's trying to focus on the support. Sees Laz, decides to go after Laz. And Laz needs to be very, very careful about not being spotted by the monster. So right now, this team needs to do absolutely everything to go ahead. And I like that Laz is beelining out of there. But the rest of the team needs to punish the monster. Now the dome should be coming down very shortly. The monster's armor is broken. I'd love to see... Oh, Hadrosaur, very, very low armor. A Dune Beetle somehow made it over here. And that Dune Beetle, I think, might have caused the game right now, because Laz is extremely low on health and needs to do everything he possibly can to get out of there. And the Aftershock is going to go ahead and... Ooh, misses. The Hadrosaur is able to get away, able to climb up, doing a fantastic job. Daisy is downed, but not out for the count. And fantastic cloak by Port here. Fantastic use of using your team. And right now, all Silver needs to do is just concentrate on doing as much damage as possible and focusing on punishing the monster for everything that they are doing. Fantastic work by Hadrosaur. Absolutely great dodging. And Portkey, amazing support work. You know, being able to bring in that cloak. And Silver bringing on the pain. Fantastic work by Hunters. The Hunters are doing an absolutely brilliant job of absolutely wrecking this monster right now at this stage 3 engagement. Now, as soon as the dome comes down, if the monster does not see any leeway, he should absolutely get out because nobody's at low health, and right now he is looking in a very bad spot. Even if he does get Laz down right now, he still has the assault to worry about and everyone else. So the monster will end up retreating, but it's going to be a little too late, and right now the hunters are in extreme commanding position right now. So right now I wouldn't chase the monster. I would just regroup, get everyone healed up when you can, and go from there. So the monster took a good entire 1/3 permanent health damage for 1 strike on Daisy. So fantastic work by the hunters. Great cloaking by Hadrosaur, and absolutely brilliant play by Portkey on that last minute support cloak. So right now the monster going to be a little short on food. He has been up this way a couple of times, so the food's going to kind of have slim pickings. So he only needs to eat about 6 to 8 meat, and then he's ready to go because Kraken doesn't have as much armor as some of the other monsters. And there we go, going after a Dune Beetle. Interestingly enough, the Dune Beetle almost cost a life. Now, they really need to clear out, yeah, that Dune Beetle up there. I don't know what brought him over there, but that Dune Beetle almost won the game for the monster right then and there. But Hadrosaur locked out, was able to avoid a couple of hits, and able to get away just in the nick of time. So monster full armor, going to look for an engagement. No lightning strike, so no ability to go ahead and preemptively engage. So the downside to Aftershock Vortex Banshee build is that you really don't have the ability to open up and soften targets before going out all in. While the all in is is pretty strong. I love the colors on this thing. The glow in the dark purple's really cool, or white, or whatever you want to call it. Okay, so here we go. So he's going to try and soften them up as much as he can. Ooh, that Banshee Mine does hit Portkey, so that is actually a plus for the monster. Now, holding the dome, at this point, I would throw the dome at 50% armor, because at that point, you should be able to go ahead and kill the monster. Silver, very, very low health, almost going to go down, and if the assault goes down, that is a tremendous amount of pressure being alleviated from them. So I would be very, very careful, because right now the Kraken does not have a lot of pressure to worry about, and so can camp this body pretty effectively just because there is nobody to do a lot of damage with. So I like that Laz hasn't jumped the gun and gone here. I do like that he is holding back a little bit. And it looks like the Kraken doing a little bit of damage here and there, trying to bait out Laz, and Laz coming down, gets pounced, needs to be shot off immediately. Monarch's going in for the lift. I absolutely love this. Sometimes you don't have to worry about Laz. Now, I'd love to see a dome throw. Throw down the dome, and you've won the game as the Hunters. Throw the dome. Throw it. Oh. Throw the dome. I don't know why the dome's not being thrown. Absolutely should be thrown right now. Okay, so support is getting singled out. Assault, the team is back up. Laz at 2 strikes, though, almost about to die, and there's the dome. A little bit later than I would have liked to see, but the moment the monster sees that, with that little health, it's a demoralizing victory, and regardless, it's going to put a tremendous amount of pressure on the monster, and the monster is going to make a lot of fatal mistakes. So right now, the monster is trying to do as much as he possibly can, and it looks like that the Hunters have this in the bag. Hadrosaur doing a great job keeping away. Hadrosaur going to go down very shortly. I keep on expecting to see a lightning strike. And Illusional, very, very sliver of health. And a Moral Victory might be able to kill Laz with a tiny health. Nope, and it looks like Laz barely lives to fight another day. And there we go. Good game. Fantastic work by the Hunters. Great teamwork.
Again.
GG, that was a lot of fun to watch.
Good game.
Yeah, good game, guys.
I've never felt so defeated.
No, I didn't
by
get to see how many harpoons I landed.
Oh, sorry.
I
wanted to see how much mastery I had.
I messed up so many times with my Aftershock. I thought I had you guys, and then Sunny did a great job taking you guys out of my range.
Yeah, Sunny was amazing. Like that. that AoE cloak at the very end when Laz's cloak was about to run up and he was being chased around the second to last dome, and then you AoE cloaked and you got Laz away. That was absolutely a big turning point. I almost thought that the monster absolutely won when the Dune Beetle started going after Laz. I was just like, where the hell did this Dune Beetle come from? And you were like half health. I was like, oh, the monster just totally won this. And then Laz was able to do some pretty good BS moves and got away. You were like a sliver of health so many times. It was really good job, though. Like, you guys were doing really good. You were punishing when you were supposed to. The biggest thing, though, is, again, whenever I play with a Laz, I always try and sacrifice my support, because once the assault goes down, there is so little pressure on the monster that he can kind of stick around for extra strikes or wait for Laz to come out, because I don't mind taking, a bar of health, because unless there's a Cabot, they're not going to be doing a ton of damage to me anyway. And so whenever the assault goes down, you really have to try and do everything you can to put pressure on the monster, or he's just going to sit there and camp the body like he did when he did. But fantastic work, like really good job on both sides. Really good teamwork. You were in great positions. You were doing the right thing. I did feel, though, that the stage 2 evolution, when you started burning him with a flamethrower, did you have to reload? Because at one point you swapped, and then you swapped to the toxic grenade, and by then he finished evolving. I feel like you should have stayed on the flamethrower or thrown the toxic grenade first, but not swap halfway through.
I sort of forgot about the toxic grenade until, yeah.
Fair enough. But no, really good job from the Hunters. You did some really good work. And that's exactly how you play with a Laz or a Val. Val can't necessarily keep herself up, but that's what the support is for. And so the support, really good job today, Port. You were doing a great job keeping everyone boosted, keeping those drones down, and you were doing a really good job with your cloaks to cover people. And Monix, by the way, fantastic that you rezzed the assault when Laz was about to go down. Brilliant move. I especially with when the monster had that low health, it didn't matter if you got 1 or 2 more strikes, because it made all the difference in the end.
Yeah, I find people like a lot of times just won't res people if there's a Laz, but
exactly, like I think
so concentrated on trying to get a Laz, sometimes you just got to get them up.
Exactly.
Honestly,
go ahead.
I was just gonna say, honestly, I think Laz, even as good as his gimmick is, I think he's just better off as a distraction, because then you could just have the monster chase him around while, other people get revived with strikes.
Yep. I'm absolutely convinced the meta will one day be that people have Laz on the team, and Laz never uses his res glove. He's basically a threat, and then so while the monster chases Laz or tries to get him, someone just gets a regular strike, because normally if you have a medic on your team, you don't mind taking a strike for 1 or 2 bars of health, so why would it make any difference with Laz? And so I think that eventually one day the meta is actually going to catch up, and it's going to be a very strong meta for a long period of time until hunters or monsters kind of figure it out. But I've been saying for a long time, Laz himself is okay. His greatest strength is him just being on a team. Like, the rest of his abilities are okay, but the threat that he brings is actually stronger than his actual ability, in my opinion.
I agree. The only thing that I think is lacking right now for Laz is everybody with explosive damage, because sometimes you just get on teams where like nobody can take advantage of the armor-piercing spots.
Yeah.
And then it kind of like, I don't know, I feel like he's not bringing as much to the team, because like you said, he's a threat there, because he's going to get singled out as soon as you see him. But
yep.
I kind of wish there was more hunters that were using projectiles and not explosives.
Yeah, that's true. I was just gonna say, I honestly think Laz's weak spot shouldn't have, the monster shouldn't be able to see where they're exactly coming from. I mean, he has a silent sniper rifle. You think the monster wouldn't be able to see that?
I think he can feel where the bullets are hitting him.
Yeah.
I believe that's sort of the logic.
Yeah.
Good games, though.
Good games.
Yeah.
That really battle had me on edge, because I was so low on health half the time.
Oh yeah, you were at like a sliver of health so many times, but like I said, you guys were doing really good. You guys made it very good decisions on the fly, when to pick somebody up, when to res Daisy, when to res the assault, when to do the AoE club. I mean, you guys were just really on point, and it shows. And that's a perfect textbook example of like why good teamwork will always trump good, compositions any day. But that being the case, I am going to call it. It is almost midnight, and I'm sure that my wife would like me to go to bed sometime tonight. But thanks for the games. And starting next week, so Saturday I'm going to start around 10 a.m. to start off with on next Saturday for the European and Oceanic crew, and then go throughout the rest of the day, and then have an evening one as well. So I'm going to try out those times and see what works out, and so I can get some of the European crowd that doesn't have to stay up till 3 or 4 in the morning.
You're a trooper, man. You're going to do like almost a whole Saturday?
Yeah.
Cow. I was just gonna ask, what do you think Daisy's better for? Like, sometimes, like, if we let her die there, then the countdown timer would have started up again. But do you think that would have been better to let the countdown timer start at times?
I feel that, especially if you have Laz, absolutely. If I can get the monster to kill Daisy, even with other medics, 60 to 80% of the time, I will be like, hey, yeah, go kill Daisy, start the dropship timer. I will not pick her up, and that will just make us stronger in the end. It just kind of, it's more about the monster. I feel that the only monster, I think it really just kind of depends on the monster and the monster's build. So if the monster has a lot of AoE build and a lot of long range, having Daisy die is not going to be a big problem because Daisy's never going to get a res off against a monster that's aware anyway. So having that dropship starting like 20 or 30 seconds early can make a huge freaking difference, because then you can kind of zerg the monster right when it gets close to the dropship timer, especially if you're at 2 strikes. Like if everyone's at 2 strikes, absolutely, because Daisy won't be able to pick him up anyway. So I think Daisy at stage 3 is kind of cannon fodder, and I'm more than happy to go ahead and get that dropship timer going.
Agreed. Yeah, I think stage 3 just let Daisy die.
Pretty much.
Yeah,
I just felt like reviving her because she revived the medic there.
Oh yeah.
I also
Probably a
thought
good call.
about the new Laz update.
Yeah.
Like, is it appropriate to give him like the extra heal burst range? Like, is he supposed to be? You're trying to make him not like the healing type.
The problem with
my personal feelings on it is like that was one of the suggestions I thought Laz really needed in order to be a viable healer.
Yeah, so the big problem with Laz is always going to be a binary person. He's either going to be absolutely amazing or not so amazing. And he's similar to the Wraith in that the Wraith and Laz capitalize on opponents' mistakes. So if your opponent's bad, they're going to be amazing. If your opponents are amazing, they're going to not do very, very well. And so it's kind of one of those risk versus rewards. And so I feel like Laz will always be slightly underdog, because the moment he gets a balance that puts him over that line, he is going to be absolutely godlike, and everybody and their dog is going to play Laz. So he's going to, like, I don't think he'll ever be god tier unless they do like an accidental like buff that they didn't expect, but I don't see that because they're pretty good about getting the major things out of the way. But I do feel Laz will always be slightly less viable just because of the nature. I mean, he has to be, because if you ever make him better than Kyra, like with the ability that he has, he'll be absolutely amazing and everyone and their dog would pick him. So I don't think he'll ever be super amazing, but he's not trash, if that makes sense.
Yeah, the way I saw it was that essentially, like before that, Laz could really only heal himself and one other person with his heal burst if the team was not grouping up. If the team's grouping up, you're already doing something wrong.
Yeah.
So
I think they increased the heal burst.
They needed to do that in order to make it so that people could play appropriately on the hunter side and have a Laz on your team.
Yeah, the 30% or the 30-meter range heal burst makes a big difference.
Yeah, I like Laz
there's
where
like
he is
a
right
main
now.
thing too. It's like,
So I don't think
you really
he
don't Laz,
should
you
ever
gotta
be
vote for him.
balanced. I think Laz is where he should always be below balanced, to the point where he's not normal, to where I'm having trouble wording it, but
No. Yeah, you're
underpowered.
exactly, yeah, because like once he crosses like the above average, it's going to be too strong. Just because, like I said, his ability is very binary. It's very dependent on their opponents, and the moment you make it so that he's in control of the ability as opposed to the opponent or the monster, then he's going to be absolutely redonkulously good. And I don't think that they're ever going to do that. So, like I said, like he's not trash. So for those of you who ever played Netrunner, there was a faction called Jinteki that was like 100% ambush and traps and deception, and that faction completely owned new players, but good players, oh my gosh, every time I saw a Jinteki, I'm like, oh yay, free win, because I know how to play against you. And they're a lot better now, but when they first came out, they were nigh unplayable. However, there was a Jinteki deck that actually won the World Tournament, and everyone tried to copy that deck, and it was still garbage. It was garbage, but the reason why it won is because people didn't practice against it. And I kind of feel that Laz is going to be one of those things that when the meta goes away from Laz for a very long time, he's going to become strong because people aren't used to practicing against him, and then he's going to be good for a little while, and then he's going to fade back away. So he's never going to be one of those people that's going to be like super standout, but he's definitely going to be one of those teams where you look at like Laz, Bucket, Hyde, whatever, you're like, what? And then the monster just doesn't have practice against it, and those are going to be the teams that kind of wreck face.
I feel like all the
Don't
medics are in a
team.
really good spot right now.
I do too. I think that the trappers, the assaults, I think the supports are the only ones that kind of need a bit more tweaking. Then medics, then assaults, and then trappers. But trappers have always been very, very, very solid, surprisingly. Same thing with assaults. They're all very much in tune right now.
Oh, Cal, just one quick thing. Did Dad show you that flying roach?
Flying roach? Do you mean the flying dune beetle?
Yeah.
Yeah, the one that was like just like flying off into space.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was awesome.
It's some weird thing I've noticed. Like, I was playing against him one time, and I was just had level 3 tongue grab for some reason. Then I just tongue grabbed a dune beetle and just started flying off into space.
It was funny.
Seen that before.
I've had that.
Yeah, Hadrosaur actually almost had something similar to that. The dune beetle you were fighting on the dam, it kept going down from the ground floor to the floor above when you were fighting. It was pretty hilarious to watch.
Yeah, and like,